Good morning. Hi, I'm Avery. I'm an artist. We're making bookmarks today. Usually when I start working on a project, I will use the scraps of that project for other things around the same time. Since I've been framing a lot of my artwork lately, it means that I have a lot of scraps of long thin paper from framing artwork. So I've been making bookmarks, and I'm going to walk you guys through how I made these, and you can try doing it too. I'm working on top of one of my sketchbooks right now. What I have been using is cardstock. I got a large pack of several neutral colors from Michael's and have been using them to mat my different paintings. And then the long strips that are left from cutting it down to size is what I've been using to make bookmarks. And then most importantly, these are the pens that I've been using. They're by Faber-Castell, they're India ink, and they have several different size points. And the most important thing that I do is I ignore the little micron style ones just for the beginning. We are going to use just the brush tip. And what's important is trying to keep your lines as loose and as expressive as possible. Don't really worry about getting an accurate plant just yet. Worry instead about just drawing smoothly and going with your first decision. Now, the order that I did these in was this guy first, and then this one, and then finally these guys. This was obviously the easiest because sunflowers just would grow straight up, but something like this was kind of challenging to fit those palm fronds in and still keep the visual language. And that's where our microns come in at the end and help us a lot. But we will get to that in a moment. So since the palm tree is the hardest one, we're going to do that one again just for the sake of illustration. I'm going to do a little bit of a different style. The last one was more of a coconut palm, and this one I want the trunk to be a little bit more formidable, like more of a date palm. So we're going to rough this trunk in here. Until we get about to here, I figure. Usually I'll leave a little bit of a gap where the fronds meet the trunk, just in case I want to do something like add some fruit to it later on, or if I need to use shading to make that area a little bit more seamless looking. So we're going to go ahead and stop right here, and we aren't going to go back and thicken this up right now because we want to make sure that all of our decisions balance. So starting with drawing this stem portion lets you know exactly how much space you can have for your fronds and what kind of droopiness they'll have at the end. Now, this looked just like that at one point. We're going to use cross hatching to really bring things together here. And then this space right here is where I would have left that gap just to make decisions. Notice how I chose to fill it in and do brush style shading there to make it really nice and dark as compared to the crosshatch shading on the palm fronds. So we're going to go ahead and go into hyperlapse for the rest of this guy. So this looks like a nightmare right now. What we're going to start doing is now going back in with the brush tip and just defining a few shapes to make them bigger, bolder, larger feeling, and to add more visual contrast to key points that have become messy in their overlap with each other. So the important thing is you're not going to be lining everything here. You are just going to be lining what is unclear in comparison to everything else. Like this baby branch that I added at the end, that was a poor decision. We're going to go ahead and brush that out And that will start to blend with this in here when we go back in with our microns. Oh, this got scary. But that's kind of the point of doing it like this. I kind of started doing this style when I was feeling a little bit less in control of myself. And it's really good for working on instincts. There's so much of developing your own personal style is not being perfect at drawing everything, but it's about having confidence in the decisions that you want to make with your personal style. And that means a lot of things in a lot of different circumstances. But you'll find that most artists that impress you when you watch them work, it is the confidence that they move through their strokes. It's the assurance that they have as they are working at their things that lets you be impressed by what they're doing. And it's what communicates their style to you over anybody else's style. And then we're going to add some quick little... And we'll be going back in with our microns now. So we have 3 different tip sizes. We've got a small, a fine, and a medium. Usually I will use those in different applications just depending on what I need to do. For instance, the stems on the sunflowers were a medium, whereas no, that's backwards. This is the small, this is the fine, and then this down here is the medium, and that all gives different levels of darkness and depth. This is done just using the brush tool. Tool. It's not a digital art. Whereas this one I used like the larger brush size and just did it spaced out. But we're going to go ahead and go into hyperlapse, and I will try to show you each tool as we go along. So yeah, in closing, it is pretty much about cross hatching and hatching from here on out. Some of the things that I'd like to leave you with is it's always better to overdo it than underdo it. So if part of you wants to just keep on adding things, just know that there really is a point where you should go ahead and walk away and stop adding stuff. Or else you might end up with something that's a little bit hard to take back and a little bit hard to blend. And something else that I want you guys to know is I learned a variation of this technique when I was in elementary school. No matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, this really is very simple, and it just looks good because you're patient with it. And I feel like anybody can do it. And I want to see what you do with it. So go ahead, make a video, make a photo, tag me. My social handles are all in the link in my profile. And I'd love to see what you do. Bye.